Hello, I'm Rachel Sinnott from Thrive for Life, board-certified naturopathic doctor and international functional medicine coach. And I just want to say good morning, beautiful people. I am in my office right now, and I had a moment to jump on and talk about my upcoming event. And that is March 23rd at 6 p.m., and we're going to be talking about gut health. Specifically, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And a lot of times the small bowel gets overlooked. Even if you're taking high fiber, if you're not taking adequate amount of water with that, that can glue up in your colon. That's why a lot of GI specialists, though, veer away from Metamucil and things like that, because psyllium hulls become like a gluey substance if you don't hydrate. But the fiber is good because it scrubs the colon wall and cleans it of all debris if taken with 1/2 your body weight in ounces of water. Also, if you have not enough probiotics or commensal bacteria, which is in your gut, is your healthy microbiome, if you don't have this in your gut because you've washed it out, maybe you drink a whole lot of caffeine. Energy drinks, I know they're wonderful, you're feeling good, you got a lot of energy to get things done. But it's really hard on the heart. It's really hard on the heart. It's really hard on the liver, the kidneys, and your vital organs. So, can you veer toward ginger maybe? Maybe a small thing of ginseng you can get off of Amazon. They have Prince of Peace, and they're little tiny ginseng little kind of like ampules, about that big. You pop a straw in it and you suck that down, and man, it'll give you vitality, energy, and not hurt the heart so much because it's a small amount. If you must drink coffee, mold-free is the best advice I could give you on that, because a lot of coffee is stored in bins and silos in the darkness, and the moisture gets to them and mold can ensue, and if it's already ground up, you wouldn't know it's in there. But if you get organic coffee, and 1 cup a day should do it to get you jump started if you must have coffee. And organic is best, mold-free is best. If you have problems with acidity, some people vie for putting a little bit of baking soda in their coffee to kind of alkalize the acidity of the coffee. Now, I can't do it. I can't drink that. Not going to happen. But you can get a low acidity coffee and mix that in with your other coffee. I like Colombian organic. I do like mold-free coffee. Low acidity can help a lot. And this I have found by VitaCup, and that's on Amazon. It's not cheap, but it really does make a difference on your microbiome. Now, if you're going to wipe out all your friendly flora with caffeinated beverages, then also at the same time, you're feeding the bad bacteria with sugar that you're putting in your coffee. So I vie away from that as well. So what I use is stevia. You can use honey, maple syrup. Still a sweetening agent, but it's a lot less toxic to your body than straight granulated sugar. Sugar feeds bad bacteria. That's why in the fall time, when they have Easter's coming up, but when they have Halloween, for instance, lots of candy. At that time of season, when the sun starts to deplete because winter comes on, then you're depleted of vitamin D stores. And if you get your labs done around that time, you'll find that your vitamin D may be low. And that's when you might want to boost that up. I do have some liposomals available to you that get right into the bloodstream and help out immensely at that time of year to help boost your immune system. A lot of people like to do inoculations, vaccines. I'm not myself personally a proponent of that, and I'm not advising you what to do on that. I am not a MD. I am a naturopath. That you would have to discuss with your healthcare provider. But it's a personal decision. You can make an educated decision. I don't do vaccines, haven't done them for years. And my immune, I just work on building it in the fall, and I found that that really helps. eliminating the sugars. And then, of course, Christmas comes on, and then there's cakes and brownies and cookies and all those yummy things. There are a lot of wonderful recipes that don't include sugar in the mix. And I've gone gluten-free, and I have found that my gut has worked better than ever. A lot of people that have celiac disease, another gut issue, where your cilia are not working. Well, why? Some of them have maybe been broken off. Maybe they're gooed up. Maybe you need to do a colon cleanse. And as a health coach, I can help you with these decisions. Now, you might be seeing a lot of this online stuff going on, and medical doctors have now just started to promote, using diet as a good way of healing the body and giving the body the nutrients it needs. I've been doing this for 34 years prior to any of these newbies coming on the set. So I do know quite a bit about gut health. In fact, they call me the gut guru. But if you have questions about that, you can type them in the chat. I'll be happy to address those as they come in. I'm on my phone right now, so I'm in my office waiting on a client. And I thought I would jump on here just to tell you that I have this class coming up March 23rd, and that is a Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to have a slideshow presentation, and we're going to go through this stuff so you can understand what's going on in the body. Now, the gut is very important. If you don't keep the colon rolling, you should be actually eliminating 2 to 3 times a day, not 1 time a day, not 1 time in 3 days. This is not good. Not good at all. This means that your pipes may be clogged up and needing a little cleaning. Used to be, old school remedy, enemas were the thing when people got sick. They'd go to the doctor, and doctors say, you need an enema. Yeah, well, they do have home enemas that you can use. Some people go to hydrocolonics. I personally have not gone to a hydrocolon therapist. I've heard good things and bad things on both sides. That is also a personal decision. I vie for putting in my body the things it needs to clean out the gut. And there's many things you can do. Now, if you are under the guise of an oncologist, a lot of times they don't like you having estrogen-forming foods, so you have to watch that with flaxseed. Flaxseed is an estrogen-promoting compound that will promote the proliferation of estrogen in the body. Okay, so that might not be something for somebody under the guise of an oncologist, and you can talk to your oncologist about that. The other thing is, flaxseed oil is very good for people to eliminate, toxins in the gut because it helps you to eliminate. So I like using it in my shake. I use a teaspoon in the morning, and it keeps things rolling. But I do drink my water. I drink my water after I do my protein shake, and I do plant-based protein. I choose not to go the whey route. I find that dairy, for me, I have food sensitivities too. Now, there's a difference between allergies and food sensitivities. Food sensitivities usually are where your body does react to the food in a negative way. And when I say negative, what I mean is you might feel nauseous afterward. You might notice that your nose stuffs up. If your nose is stuffing up and your sinuses are stuffing up after a food, you may have food sensitivities, or there's something in that food that your body is combating. Because why? Your white cells are going nuts, and they're trying to protect all your sinus cavities and all the lining in your body. And this can produce inflammation, which leads to rheumatoid arthritis a lot of times. So anti-inflammatory foods may be key for you. Maybe you're not good with dairy. Maybe it's not a thing for you. Now, over the years, they did pasteurize dairy, but a lot of times there's other additives put in dairy to preserve it. And the cows are eating lots of hormones and, because they want to produce more milk because of the population. A lot of your foods may have been, or grains, have been inundated with pesticides. And I know offhand, my biological father, God rest his soul, was an avid eater of natural foods. He ate dandelion greens and wonderful things that are good for your body. Spring water fresh from a brook. I mean, he was really a real mountain man, right? And everything he did was very carefully thought out. However, he worked in the hay fields, and the hay was covered in pesticides, and he did end up getting cancer and dying, unfortunately. So pesticides are something. So what do we do about that? How do we clean these things out of our body? That's what you're going to learn at my next class on March 23rd. I'm going to talk about that. What do you do about inflammation? How can it be combated? That's what you're going to learn on my next class that I have March 23rd. And there's also heavy metals. Now, heavy metals can come from soil. It can come from water. The quality of your water is paramount. So if you have a filtration system, bravo to you for all the people that have filtration systems, okay? So if you have those in place, that's fantastic. You should definitely just pat yourself on the back, because not everybody has that. Some people just still go with tap water. I'm not a tap water person. Bottled water, they have said that the plastic can leach into the water. However, some water's better than none. That's how I look at that. You might not have the capability of having a filtration system on your water. Maybe your water's too hard and it just kills the filtration system because of the lime sediment and the heavy metals in that. Heavy metals are never, ever good for the body. They weaken the immune system, and they're hard on the liver, because the liver starts storing these things. It'll store toxins. And there's ways to detox those as well. I do think that if you do detoxification every 3 to 6 months, all depending on where you're at, what you're consuming, what's the quality of the air in your area, the quality of the water. It's giving the body something to do, though. It is work for the body. If you have kidney issues and things like that, you might not want to cleanse without talking to a healthcare professional, or someone that knows a little bit about it, like a naturopath. Now, my background is also in allopathic as a respiratory therapist, so I know quite a bit about that. I know quite a bit about COVID, and if you have leftover type symptoms from COVID, I know some wonderful ways that we can help with that and help your body heal from that scar tissue that's formed in the lungs. And there's certain herbs that can help to heal that and clean that up a little bit. And I'm not suggesting in any way that this is medicinal. This is just consuming herbs and nature to improve your body's function. Okay, so this is functional medicine. Now, when you're talking about functional medicine as a naturopath, I'm privy to looking in the eyes and focusing on nail beds, tongues, facial features, and different markers that can tell me what's going on in your body through Chinese medicine. Now, with allopathic, they use labs. It's a little more concise, and I like that about it. But it is invasive because you're drawing blood. Some people don't want to have labs drawn. But there's also other labs other than just blood draw. There's saliva for cortisol levels. If you can't sleep at night, you might have too much cortisol. It's all related to the gut. If you can get that gut cleaned out, then the other organs can work more proficiently because you're absorbing. If you have malabsorption issues, I can see it in your tongue, in your nails, everything that can just tell me what's going on. Now, I am actually 56 years of age, and people say, well, you look so young. I work at it. It does take work. Now, I'm a busy person, and I work at the hospital as respiratory therapist part-time now, per diem, and I still have my office and work with several clientele with functional medicine, naturopathy. If people want to go herbology, they can do that with me. I do reflexology. I do auricular acupuncture, all these things that I'm certified in, and I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor. So with that, I know quite a bit about herbs in my last 34 years, and have been able to help lots of people with lots of different issues, but they did the work. And to work with someone, you have to be able to want to get better and try something different. Medications do what they're supposed to do, okay? And I'm not telling you to go off any of your medications. I have worked with people that stay on some medications, and we still are able to get quite a bit of headway as far as their well-being and feeling better and having better numbers just through diet and supplementation. Now, I take supplements every day. I started out 22 years ago, I was actually 22. So I started out on my journey 34 years ago. But when I was 22, I was in college eating a horrible diet of fast food. I loved those cheeseburgers. They were only $1. It's cheap. It's fast. I was hungry. I didn't have time to cook or eat or cook foods at home or things like that. So I just like to grab things on the go. Well, there's other ways that you can do this. You can eat apples. There's carrots you can prepare. There's nuts you can take with you. A lot of things. And you want to get organic nuts because a lot of times you'll read the label and nuts are covered in paraben. Or they'll use different preservatives that are, carnauba wax, which is used on cars, right? So that's not so healthy to have that wax in your body. It gums things up, right? Some people boil their nuts. Some people, clean them before they eat them. That's a lot of work to me. So I just buy them organic. Raw nuts are always better. They don't taste as good because they don't have the salt compound. Now, I think the Himalayan salt thing is definitely something you can think about changing or incorporating in your diet. Iodized sea salt, because iodine, even though it's something added, it helps with the thyroid. Goiter used to be a real thing back in the day, and it's almost been totally eliminated because of iodine. You can get iodine through your shellfishes. You can get them through your shellfishes, but once again, there's a mercury concern there, right? So mercury is a concern, and that's a heavy metal. It all sounds so confusing and like, what are you going to do? All this stuff going on. But like I said, every 3 to 6 months, clean your system. Just do it. Do a cleanse. And some people vie for juicing. If you're diabetic, that's more difficult because if you're diabetic, too much sugar is not a good thing for you. So juicing might not be the thing unless you're using vegetables, okay? And you can do that. Maybe 1 apple or a half an apple with some dulse or some kale, or some people like Swiss chard in there and carrots. That's a little better than, like, say, a strawberry smoothie. Strawberries are loaded with sugar. Banana is loaded with sugar. Something maybe that a diabetic, you could eat a half a banana a day, but beyond that, it's a little bit bad on your A1C. So these are little things that I'm going to help you with, tidbits to help you with. So if you want to get healthy, if you want to change the trajectory of how you feel and get that energy you want, then you're going to want to make some of these adjustments. If you have high blood pressure, hi Zane, if you have high blood pressure, then, you don't want a lot of sodium in your diet. Now, I've heard both coins saying, well, it's not sodium. Yeah, sodium can drive it up, it can drive it up for sure. It dries out your membranes and causes more work for the heart that way, right? So you don't want to dry things up. If you want a good source of sodium, celery. Celery is a good source of sodium. It's really good because it's also fibrous, so it'll also clean the colon wall, scrubbing the internal part of the colon wall, keeping all that slime and sludge off of there. Doesn't that sound yummy? But anyway, if you do that and eat your vegetables. Now, vegetables are high in oxygen, and cancer cannot proliferate in an oxygen-rich environment. If you're eating a lot of nitrogen foods, like, meats and things like that, I do vie that you at least add a salad in a day. A salad a day will keep a doctor away, or an apple a day, right? But a salad a day, because if you can get those nutrients in there and also that fiber, it will help keep you regular and keep that colon rolling. The other thing is that I think that if you don't have enough probiotics in your colon, sometimes after you've drank too much coffee, too much caffeinated beverages, sweet tea and things like that, you should add maybe I'm saying 11 billion probiotics in a day. And from a live source is always better, refrigerated's better. But if you can't get that, just get a high quality one. I work with a company that's fantastic. And I order them from them, and only you can join a membership for that, and they give you all these classes and everything. If you want to know about that, drop a comment in the box and I can tell you about that. But so those are some of the foods that are very helpful. Now, if you want to get probiotics from a food source, obviously yogurt is the go-to. If you want to get good yogurt, though, you want Greek yogurt, low sugar. If you get sugar, then you're defeating the purpose, right? But you can add little bits of raspberry to it. Raspberry is good for women, glandular system. Ketones are good. Raspberry has ketones, so that's good for you too. And you could put nuts in there. You can throw your half teaspoon of flaxseed in there. And boy, that's a nice cocktail for your colon. And it's going to feed your healthy bacteria in there, your friendly flora. And it is friendly. Your friendly flora is your friend. So if you want to do that, it is fantastic for your gut. Now, if you have heart issues, the gut can contribute that as well. If you ever see people, they have these big, beer guts, the aorta and the heart. Okay, so you have the aorta, and then you have that goes all the way behind the colon wall. If your colon is all congested and that heart's got to pump through there, it's really hard on the heart. So you want to definitely keep that colon clean so that you have room for things to work properly, okay? You don't want to put stress on the heart. Caffeine puts stress on the heart. A congested colon puts stress on the heart. The other problem is if you have a congested liver, then you can't cleanse your blood. You can't cleanse your blood, right? L-arginine is an herb that's really good for cleaning the walls of your arteries. It actually contributes to that. So I'm not saying go run out and get L-arginine, but a combination of that with hawthorn berry, berberine is good for the sugar, so you can put that combination in there. It's good. And then that's going to keep your blood nice and fluid. It's not going to be all thick and cause blood clots and things like that. Blood clots can kill you. They become pulmonary embolism and kill you instantaneously. You can get blood clots in your legs, and they can move and travel to your heart. And that's no good. So you want to make sure to keep your blood clean. A good blood cleaning food is beets. Beets cleans the blood. And it's funny, that's red, just like your blood. If you look at vegetables, it's interesting. If you cross-section and cut a piece of carrot in half, all right, and then you cut it, you will see if you do a cross-section cut, it looks like the eye, and it's good for eyes. It's interesting that nature actually mimics some of your vital organs, and I think that's great. And it's interesting that for the gallbladder, which is always thought of as a green organ, right? Green leafies are good for the gallbladder. It's very nutrienting. You get a lot of magnesium in your green leafies, which also help with what? Digestion, okay? So those are good. If you use spinach, if you use kale, Swiss chard. Now, I will tell you, dandelion greens is your highest form of calcium in a vegetable. Dandelion greens. Now, you can't just pick them out of your yard. God knows what's out there, right? You might have put fertilizer down yourself, and that's no good. But if you get it from a clean source, maybe out in a field that hasn't been inundated with anything and heavy metals and stuff clean, you can wash them. And actually, this is what my father used to do. And throw them in your salad. Add some garlic. Garlic allium is really good for you because garlic is good for your immune system. Okay, and parasites hate garlic, so that's good. Now, what if you don't know if you have parasites in your gut? Well, there is a way to tell. It's called a stool sample. And as lovely as this is, you actually catch the sample yourself, put it in a cup, and send it to the lab, and you will know. I can order these regularly. I've done this for people with colon issues that thought maybe they have parasitic infection, and the only way you would really know is by doing a lab on that. And usually allopathic medicine does not order these. These are not covered by insurances typically, and you have to pay cash for these. But you will find out if you have them or not, and then maybe can target them. Also, there's different probiotics in your body that you might not have, and those are important because if you do have a parasitic infection, you're going to have maybe an overgrowth of candidiasis. Candidiasis is there to keep the fecal matter from the parasites in check, because they do eliminate inside your colon as they devour sugar and yeast and things, and they're actually yeast. So, but it's a yeast compound. It can actually cause UTIs and other types of infections with women, also with men. Yeast, you'll see your tongue. See how white my tongue is? Right? I got to work on some things. See, I'm not perfect either. I love sharing that, but not really. But anyway, if you have a coating, I don't have a coating, but I was drinking my shake this morning, so it's a little skewed. But if you have a thick white coating on your tongue, you have a yeast issue, and you need to work on that with some probiotics. Prebiotics are good too, and those you get in sauerkraut. Sauerkraut and fermented foods are fantastic, and they feed your commensal bacteria in your colon and keep your colon in check. So all of these things are part of your microbiome. To eliminate parasites, you'll have to do a parasite cleanse. You want to do a mild cleanse. You want to clean out, and then you want to rebuild. Clean out, rebuild. And that's what I think about doing that. The best way and safest way is to actually take the herbs, drink lots of fluids. If you want to do it with teas, you can do it that way also. It's kind of bitter. Golden seal tea. Golden seal tea, yellow dock, burdock, all your yellow dock, any of your dock roots are going to help cleanse your liver. Because if your liver gets congested, it cannot cleanse this stuff out of your blood, and then you have problems with high blood pressure and things like that. So you want to keep your blood clean. But I always start with the gut, because if the gut's not working at optimal level, then your colon is not going to clean this stuff out of your system, and your liver gets backed up in congestion, and then the gallbladder gets clogged up, and that's when they remove your gallbladder because it stops working because it's overwhelmed. And usually the problem of that is processed foods, high fatty foods, greasy foods, triglycerides. They banned that in the US. Triglycerides can cause your gallbladder to get really clogged up. So what you want to do is just stay away from lard, stay away from butter. You can get purified butter, ghee, but you got to do that in moderation for cholesterol issues. If you have cholesterol issues, go with short chain fatty acid, medium chain fatty acid. So you're going to go for coconut oil. You're going to go for olive oil. You're going to go for grapeseed oil. The great thing about grapeseed oil is that it's flavorless. So if you don't want all your food to taste like olive oil, grapeseed oil is your go-to. And grapeseed oil, wonderfully enough, it takes a long time and a high temperature to turn it into anything that's triglyceride-like. So that's a good oil for that if you're cooking things high heat. So I like grapeseed oil. Now, with your salads, you can make your own dressings. A lot of dressings have a lot of sugar in them. You want to stay away from sugar. So you are going to just make your own with maybe some apple cider vinegar, maybe some lemon. Lemon's a good purgative for sure. So these are just a few things that I want to introduce to you on my next class, March 23rd at 6 p.m. And we will go over what labs have to say and how you can improve it, and clients that I've worked with that have done quite a bit better with just some coaching. I had to give them some gentle coaching because it's hard to do it on your own. Lifestyle changes are hard. They're really hard. So if you really want to change your life, if you really want to revive your youth, get your energy back, not have chronic fatigue, because even parasites can cause fatigue. They're sucking up all your nutrients. So if you can just do a parasite cleanse, clean them out, and your energy can pop back. If you're low on minerals, vital minerals, iron, iron, if you don't have enough iron, you can really be sluggish and tired. So, and I run low iron, and some of this is genetic. Now, if you have genetic predispositions for things, you need to do extra care of certain organs that maybe your family had some history with, like the heart. Feed that heart, feed these organs, get them strong. The heart is a muscle, and you can overwork it with caffeine by overworking it and overstimulating it. Okay, so everything in moderation, and you're gonna start eating cleaner foods, clean eating they call it. Okay, lean meats, fresh fruits and vegetables. There's a lot of varieties of ways of doing this. Sweet potatoes for women especially. Sweet potatoes have progesterone compounds that help progesterone to proliferate in the body, and as you get older with menopause, that can help balance your progesterone by eating my favorite, sweet potatoes. Now, I'm not saying French fried sweet potatoes, I'm talking baked, okay? And if you need sweetener on it, use agave, use stevia, honey, cinnamon is wonderful on it. If you do brown sugar, just very, very scantily. We're trying to stay away from the sugar, people, because the sugar, what? Causes bacteria growth, causes infection. We don't want infection. We want strong immune systems. So I hope that you join me on my next event, March 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any questions, you can go to my website. I was just looking at, hi, people. You can go to my website, and that's thriveforlifellc.com, and there's lots of information on there. You can book a consult with me. You can drop a comment and if you drop a comment, you can get a free t-shirt. And my next one's going to be really fun when we do the class, because I give away mugs, t-shirts for the people that talk the most on there, and the people that are just asking questions and being part of the fun. So looking forward to seeing you then, and remember, thrive for life.